Hi and welcome or welcome back. So the herd has grown a little bit over the past few months, so we're going to take a look at all of our new faces. We are going to start with this pretty boy. This is the 2025 Collector Club Fall Release Jurian. He is on the Parisian Sport Horse mold, originally released in 2020 by, it was sculpted by Lynn A. Farley. There's actually only 9 total models on this mold, and 2 of them were the live auction models, which sell for 4 or 5 digits, so technically 7 that were a little bit more general public available if you were in the clubs, because a couple of them, at least one of them for sure, was a premiere. Yeah, none of them, I think there's only one regular run model on this mold, and he is a glossy dapple sooty palomino, so you can see he's got some dapples in there and a little bit lighter mane or tail. He's kind of a caramel color. Really pretty face. Really like this guy. So next we have the one that I'm probably the most excited for. This is Brunhild. She is on the Wixom mold, which was released in 2001 and sculpted by Donna Cheney. She is a 2021 Collector Club model, and she is a dapple bay with the orange tail ribbon, and I love the big draft horse molds, so I was so excited to see her, and I got her for under $50, which is crazy. Usually I don't see her going for that low. She's not perfect, but I'm fine with her. I quite am thrilled and excited to have her added to the Big Pony collection. Another exciting find, this is a Big Ben mold, originally released in 1996, sculpted by Kathleen Moody. His name is Gathering Storm. He is a charcoal paint, glossy paint kind of. So way back in 95 to 2004, they did a collector's choice edition models, which is what he is. So each model was released for 6 months out of the year, either the first 6 months or the second 6 months, and that's all they were available for. And customers on the Breyer website could go in and kind of pick which ones they wanted, give suggestions. I think it was kind of more of a give suggestion type thing. And they would make these models. So he does not have a belly stamp, but because he is an older mold, I'll see if I can find it. Oh, Lord, I don't think you're going to be able to see it on camera. He has got the older style Breyer Reeves stamp. I don't know if I can get the camera to focus on it enough to really show it off, but we tried. So I was pretty excited to see him. I really like his coloring, and I think he's a really fun mold. Next on our list is going to be the 75th anniversary Western horse. If you want to stop and read this, this kind of has a company history and then what they're doing with the 75th anniversary stuff. So I took him out of the box sleeve just to make it simpler to see him without all the glare. So all of the 75th anniversary horses have kind of a paint pattern with the horse models in it. You can kind of see it there and there. This mold is the oldest mold I now own, released in 1950, originally sculpted by Chris Hess. They are calling him a red dun splash, with the tack having black and gold accents. These, I don't remember if it was the pony version of this model or if it was this one that used to stand over next to the clocks, but that's kind of what he looks like. And then same with he's very similar to the Heartland horse model that was very similarly built to this. But yeah, he is now a model on the oldest mold that I have. But I'm going to take him out and then we can just look at him. Here he is freed from his boxy confines, and I'm really liking his face. So here's his other side. Pretty much the same, just different models used there. So the bridle and the breastplate are molded on. They aren't going to come off, but if I recall, the saddle should come off, and it's pretty loose, so I think it will. So go ahead and pop that off, and then it looks like it's just held on by rubber bands. Oh, that one might have broke. Okay, yep, so that's all that's held on by. And then this plastic sleeve, a lot of times with horses that come with tack or costumes on, they will put a plastic sleeve over them in places where the dye or ink may transfer onto their paint. So for now, I'm going to leave that on because he is going to stay wearing the saddle. But that is fully what this side looks like. And I'll flip him back around. Here's what this side looks like. And the reins are, I think if you really wanted to, you could probably get them off. It looks like they are, there's just kind of a eye hook in there. And then so if you bent it, you definitely could just get them off and pull them out, but they aren't meant to be removable. And then, yeah, here's the saddle. Pretty simple, lightweight plastic. But I do have one thing I want to show you guys just because we're here looking at this one. I have one of these guys, which is very similar to scale for this Breyer model. I don't know a ton about him, but I do know that I believe he would have been kind of like a county fair prize back in the 60s, 70s. He's very heavy. He's made out of metal. Unfortunately, he's tarnishing, and I don't know how to fix that for him. I've tried a couple different things, but I really think it's just kind of a very heavily different mixture of metals. I'm sure they weren't made super expensive if they were just given away as prizes, but he does also have the molded breast collar. He's got a little bit fancier of a bridle on. His saddle is so small, but then huge fenders. And then I'm gonna flip him over, but just a fair warning, for whatever reason, I'm gonna try and cover it up, but these horses were made with a more human-like, anatomically correct gender, so I'm gonna try and cover that up. The only thing he's got on him is that USA stamp right there. I don't know why they didn't just make it look like a horse. It doesn't. It does not look like a horse's. But, and he is hollow, like you can stick your finger up here, and I would assume he's overall hollow, but the things I've tried to use to polish him and clean him back up, it seems to take off this shine, or like it just doesn't do anything but scuff him. So for now, he's just kind of being left to tarnish, unfortunately. But you can see here where I kind of tried to clean his face, and it kind of just seemed to take everything off. So I quit messing with it and kind of down in this area too. But I think he's cool. They're going to stand next to each other because they look similar, and yeah, just kind of wanted to show him off. So our last traditional scale addition is Apollo de del Solis. I'm gonna call him Apollo. Make life easy. So here's kind of a positive read point again. This is a 2021 Breyerfest model. He's a limited edition, so that means there's only 3,500 of him made. I believe there's like a glossy version of him. I don't remember for sure exactly what was going on with that. But he is on the Esprit mold, which is a 2010 mold by Kathleen Moody again, and they are calling him a bay double pearl. I'm not sure on how that coloring works, but here he is. And I should note, any photos or any information I'm spouting, 90% of it is coming from Identify Your Breyer. The other 10% is probably just learned knowledge that I have no idea where it came from anymore. But this is one of the years that they did come with a book, which is kind of cool because a lot of the models nowadays don't come with the little booklets because you used to get little fun games in them. But these are from 2021, of course. their new releases for that year. So here's a bunch of Freedom series. Some more Freedom series. These would be like storybook horses, so I guess kind of a mixture of Freedom and traditional scale, because these guys would be traditional, but that would be a Freedom / classic. And then we got some stablemates down at the bottom. And some more stablemates. Some more stablemates. And this is actually a traditional set. So there's our 2021 holiday horse up there. And then in 2021 we had our 70th anniversary blind bags, which would be these guys, and then whatever this unicorn, horse crazy unicorn surprise dealio was over here. Those are confusing, so there's like 2 bags of each. Like there's mystery horse surprise and horse crazy surprise, and there's like unicorn crazy surprise and mystery horse unicorn surprise. I don't know. But here is some of the 2021 horse models. We see Secretariat. I don't know which one that is. Sherry Serby's 2-time world champion barrel. Oh, Stingray. Duh. But yeah. And then some more traditional models. And some tack sets and play sets over here for the traditional scale horses. And it kind of talks about making the sculpts. Some more just advertising the horses that are for sale on the website in 2021. But that's pretty much that. I just think these are cool. I do tend to keep these even if I don't keep the boxes for the horses, just because we don't get them anymore. So it's fun to have the year encompassed back here. I know, like, for sure, like, collector clubs, we get, like, a special magazine, and then I think that if you, like, buy from the website and they have, like, your address, I don't know if everybody just gets the magazine at the end of the year. I don't remember. I don't tend to keep those. Probably should. Probably gonna regret it someday, but whatever. Can't hoard everything. But this is Apollo, and like I said, he's in the Esprit mold, and I think, yeah, he is gonna have a belly stamp down there. How hard is he gonna be to take out? I think these pieces are always interesting to see, because they use, like, chunks of boxes from other boxes and cut them up and use them to stop these dumb twist ties from rubbing through the back of the box. Ouch. Okay, I'm gonna go get something to cut that. Okay, so one thing I did not know, nor did I notice until he came out of the box, is he has got a brand over here, which is cool. But yeah, there he is. This is the Esprit mold. I quite like this mold. I love the action mane and tail, as well as kind of like the action pose. Of course, it does make him a little tougher to stand, because if he tips this way, he's going to tip over. But next, we are going to look at all of the little mini ponies we got. So I think we're going to just go ahead and start with our collector club models, just because I grabbed them first. So this year with the 75th anniversary, if you had a deluxe collector club membership, they always give you one stablemate for free. You pay an entry fee, so an additional entry fee to be in the deluxe part of the club. So I don't know if it's really free, but for the 75th anniversary, we all got one model. Everybody got that one, and then there was a additional model added on that was a surprise coloring. So in here we're gonna have the semi-rearing Mustang. They named him Darius this year. He, on the stablemate scale, this is the first time they've used it for 2025, but originally the big scale is from 1961 and was sculpted by Chris Hess. Darius himself is going to be a glossy bay Appaloosa, which is this one. There he is. So this is the one that everybody got. And then we got a surprise model, which was the Wedgwood Blue, or it's Glossy Copenhagen, which I would say is just like a darker blue with like the yellow speckles all over. And then there's a Gold Charm, which was basically this, except for in a shiny gold, and a Gold Florentine, which is the shiny gold with white speckles all over. So I got the blue Wedgwood, which is kind of the one I wanted the most. So I was pretty excited to end up with him. And so we have our 2 semi-rearing Mustangs. And then as part of the Deluxe Collector Club, you get a pin every year. So that is Maddox on there. I'm going to stick these 2 back in here for now so they don't get runded over by anybody else. But they were kind of a fun little surprise for the collector club for this year. So then there's 2 releases, like 1 release left and then the 1 optional model for the Stablemates Collector Club. But these are the last 2 releases that I have of the Collector Club. Oh, the Stablemates Collector Club. And on this side, we have the Peruvian Paso Finos. They're named Javier, and they did a 50-50 glass, not gloss. We're gonna start over. They did a 50-50 glossy and matte mix. I do have 2 Stablemate Club memberships, so I did fortunately get 1 of each, which was super fun. Peruvian Paso Fino mold was released in 2006 and first done by Jane Lunger, and he is a chestnut Sobiano paint. We'll take them out, and then we have Chickadee, which was the Stablemate Collector Club, like kind of gambler's choice. Basically, there's 4 colors. You don't know what you're getting. I got the blue deco, like, color shift appy, and then the Palomino appy blanket. There was also a glossy silver bay and a red roan Tobiano paint. I'll throw pictures of those up. This is the Loping Quarter Horse mold, also known as Dungery. I think that's how you say that. I always call it the Loping Quarter Horse mold because I don't recognize Dungery, and like I just don't know which mold that is or model that is. And it was released in 2013, also by Jane Lunger. So we have 4 Jane ponies here. And I think I called them Chickadee. They're both named Chickadee, and then this is Javier. So these guys kind of come in their own little mini box, and they are all labeled to them. So this is going to be the matte Javier. To untwist or to just cut them all? I think these ones might be easier to untwist. Sometimes the metal in the twist ties get super sharp and then they poke your finger, and that's way less fun. But I'm going to pull all these guys out and then we will look at them free of their boxy confines. Okay, our littles are out. And so this is side 1, or side 2, side 1 of the glossy Javier. And then side 1, side 2 of the matte Javier. And I usually like to look at these guys when they have kind of the stenciling paint to see if there are any differences, and it doesn't look like there's really anything super different. There's a little bit up here on the neck, this spot. It's definitely like over further. You can kind of see what I'm saying. It's not a ton over, but it, you know, like if you compare jawbone, where like that spot is and that spot is, there's definitely a difference. I think up here looks a little different. Let's see on this side. Definitely the face markings here are different. And then even the neck on this side as well is different. Otherwise, nothing is too crazy different. But they are fun to see the difference in the masking and how the masking works on them, because I know I've said it before in other videos, but what they do is there's a stencil, they lay the stencil over the model, and then they paint on top of the stencil, and at times the stencil might have gotten laid further this way and tipped up, or this one was laid in and tipped down. And that's just different painters more than likely, and just human error, which is fine. There's not a negative error, just error. Then we have our 2 chickadees. This is the Pally Appy Blanket Dealio. And I always think these are like a quarter horse mold. And they gave him a booty. Put my thumbs on him. And then this is the blue-purple color shift. I don't see like a ton of purple in there. I mean, maybe on the face for sure, but in the spots it's definitely more of just a metallic blue. Our last little section is going to be these two just kind of horse collection models, and then these two blind bags. So this one, the first one, is on the Galloping Arabian Stallion mold. I've also seen it called Darley. This is a 2018 mold by Tabitha Pack, and there actually is only 7 on this mold. I happen to have 1 and then 2 on the shelf, so I have 3 out of 7. I know that there is a Breyerfest one and a Stablemates Collector Club one. I don't remember what the other 2 are. But on the back, you can see the rest of like the horse collection. I have the quarter horse and the Arab from this set. He's like a ton more red than what he looks like on here. He looks to be more like a liver color. This definitely looks more like a chestnut. But we're gonna open the Arab real quick first. So pretty simple opening. And very simple coloring on this one. He is just all black with a, I don't know, I'd call it a star / stripe there, and then a stocking on the back leg. So pretty simple coloring for him. I believe that this horse collection is retiring this year. That's kind of why I for sure grabbed the Arab, and then I also got the quarter horse just because I have an Arab and a quarter horse in real life. So here is our quarter horse, and this is on the Smart Ciccolina mold, and originally this mold was a traditional scale mold that released in 2005 by Susan Carlton Sifton, and the Stablemate scale was released in 2020 in those 70th anniversary blind bags. So that was the first time we saw this mold in Stablemate scale. And if I cheated right, one of these should be another one of them, but in the like red roan. Okay, so we have our little checklist, and then we have, oh good, this is the one I was really excited about in this set. This is the Fell Pony. I don't have any of the Fell Ponies yet, and I really like the Stablemate pony models. He is a 2020 mold that also, there is a traditional version of him, but the 2020 mold for Stablemates was released again in that 70th anniversary blind bag pack. There are only 5 total on this mold, and he's so cute. This is a pearly Palomino Appaloosa. I don't know. Well, no, it's not Appaloosa. What am I saying? It's a pearly Palomino with just like a blaze face and 4 white socks. Sorry, I've been saying Appaloosa like all day. The traditional scale on that one was originally released in 2014 and is another Kathleen Moody mold. So, like I said, if I cheated right by feeling these packages, this should be the quarter horse. So we have our checklist, and then, oh no, we got the Indian pony, which is fine. This is just not really a mold I collect, but not a big deal. We'll have to try again. I got tripped up by the front leg. I'll have to feel for a fluffier tail. It's okay. But I don't have any information on this mold because I didn't write any of it down because I didn't expect to end up with this one. But he is definitely a black, I think it's Overo when they're mostly a solid color with small white spots. And then a blaze face and 1 little sock back here. This is a really cute one. I am kind of a black and white horse sucker, so he might end up staying even though, or she, it's actually a girl, even though I don't really collect this mold, but I actually really like the coloring on this one. I haven't liked a ton of the Indian pony colorings. I think there's only like 3 or 4. There's kind of like a really light red, I'd say it looks kind of red roanish, but it's technically not that, but the mane and tail are kind of light red, and then the body is like a white cream color. think there's a bay. I don't remember the rest of them, but there we go. There's our new little stablemate family. Here is the group shot of all of the new faces added to the collection. If you like this video, please check out another one on my page. If you stuck around to the end, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm really excited with all of these new ponies, and now it's time for them to find their way onto the shelf. Oh my gosh, I forgot 4 of them. Hold on. Now they're all gonna be posed so bad. Put this one over here, try and balance it out a little bit. Put this one in there. This one can go over there. Okay. Now, here's everybody. Can't believe I forgot those 4. But yeah, as always, please have a great one.